RJ, you just got to re-squat. That's all you got to do. You got to
That's what I'm
re-squat.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you wait until they go outside to take a shit in the woods, RJ, and then you just bum rush in, and now
Yeah.
you have the rights.
And then you change the locks, and then now they got to evict you.
I'm just saying, if all hell breaks loose and I lose everything, I'm going to Oregon. I'm just going to the prettiest.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's Pardon the Disruption. I am your host, Matthew Potter. I am back, and I've kicked RJ Bates back onto the panel because clearly there was some questionable judging last week. Questionable at best. I am your short sale guy, also your hedge fund connection, also run the family tree over at Real Broker. Go ahead and reach out to me if you have any interest in any of those services. We're going to go ahead and get into this week's introductions. We're going to start off with our reigning champion, Chris Jefferson. CJ, introduce yourself.
Chris Jefferson, Richmond, VA. Happy to be back. Looking forward to winning again. Potter, I hope you had a great vacation, man.
There we go. Butter me up, boss. I appreciate it. I did have a great vacation. It was wonderful. I do appreciate that. Next, we have Leon G. Barnes from the Collective Genius. Go ahead and talk to us, boss.
What's up, everyone? Leon G. Barnes, as Matt said, the VP of membership for the Collective Genius. And I have never been so happy to see Mr. Potter in my life. Welcome back, my friend. I don't know what we were doing last week. We got through it, but I'm not sure it was a traditional PTD. Excited to be back.
Absolutely. I will say I did appreciate the lightning round at the end, though. I didn't hate that. I did not hate that. All right, next up, we have Steve Trang. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on? Steve Trang, Real Estate Disruptors, fire rjbates.com. Reach out to me anytime. I never thought I would actually miss Matt's judging, but, it's amazing what happens when judging gets really, really bad.
Absolutely. It was questionable, definitely questionable. Last, certainly not least, we have RJ Bates III. Talk to us, boss.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about this whole reigning champion thing. I mean, CJ didn't even have competition last week with Steve and Leon coming in the negatives. And last time I played, I won. So, but RJ Bates III, Titanium Investments, currently doing a 50-day challenge. Looking at it so far through 32 days, we have 81 signed contracts. We've sold 30 of those, and we've done a little bit over $425,000 in revenue. So come over, check us out after Pardon the Disruption, obviously.
Awesome. Congratulations on that, RJ. You're definitely killing it. We're going to go ahead and get into our first question, which is, are realtor licenses a money grab for associations, or do they protect property owners? Go ahead and start us off, CJ.
Respectfully.
I think that, respectfully, I do think that the realtor associations are a money grab, but I think they're necessary as well. I don't think that necessarily all regulation is bad. I think the archaic energy that comes from NAR isn't very helpful to the ecosystem that is real estate. But I think if they could get up to speed, I think if they were a bit more investor friendly and investor open, that would be really good. But you got all these realtors out here, they're doing continued education, they're doing all these different things. Then they're in live scenarios with homeowners in live situations that affect people's lives, and they don't always know exactly what to do. So I think some more real world training, and again, understanding of how the investment side of the business, development side of the business works would 110% be helpful with all those fees that you guys got to pay.
Absolutely. Just paid mine. Not a huge fan. All right, Leon, what about you? Money grab?
I think it's evolved into that. I don't think it started out to be that. I think it was something that was meant to be a true fiduciary for homeowners, where you have the best interest in for that seller and for that buyer. I don't think it's evolved into that. Quite frankly, I knew more about real estate before I got licensed and I think that's the case for a lot. When it comes to having a quote unquote license, it's been something that we've been talking about for a while. That's ripe for disruption. I think you'll continue to see that evolve. Obviously, the National Associations of Realtors has an association that they can go to DC with and have lobbyists and things of that nature. So I think you'll continue to see pushback there. But in the long term, I think you will see evolution and disruption from the real estate license.
Good points. Good points. Leon is always the most informed on the panel, and we appreciate that. All right, Steve, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's absolutely a money grab. Like Leon, it wasn't designed that way. It's just what it evolved into. So right now, the biggest problem with the realtor community is that they want as many licensed realtors as possible. So the goal is not to have the best realtors. The goal is to have as many realtors as possible. So if you're building a SaaS model, which is what the realtor board is, you want as many users as possible. And we don't care how slow or challenged they are. If they can pay the bills, get them in the door. So it used to be about protecting the homeowners, but today it's about having as many licensed realtors as possible.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. That might have been the best answer I've ever heard come out of you, Steve. That was outstanding. All right, RJ, what are your thoughts?
I second that. That was an incredible answer by Steve. It's absolutely a money grab. And going into the education side of things, I mean, you're looking at something that requires, 2 weeks of training and now you're licensed. I can't even believe that's even a thing. I mean, just the minimal amount of training that's required. And then on the CE side of things, I've seen this with Cassie, my partner, for 7, 8 years now, watching where she does these CE classes. And it reminds me of defensive driving when you get a speeding ticket. It's like she's just clicking through, taking the test. And then, she gets a 65 and then she goes, okay, I got these wrong. Click, boom, 100. Okay, next. It's not education. It's just purely a money grab. And like Leon said, I don't think it started there, but that's definitely where it is nowadays. And change needs to come.
So we need to fire Cassie as a realtor. Is what I just heard RJ just alluded to.
I'm going to chalk.
Go ahead, Leon.
I was just going to say real quick, just that I'm going to chalk Steve's out-of-body experience answer there to his last 3 days that he just spent at the Collective Genius downloading great information. I'm going to chalk it up to that.
Well, look, we have this forum, right, in Arizona, the Arizona Real Estate Agent Forum.
Oh God.
And it's look, in every industry, right? Like 80% of people are idiots, right? Realtors might have a little bit more, but in every industry, 80% of the people are idiots. So in there, I was like, well, there's a simple fix, right? Instead of trying to have as many people as possible, collect the same amount of revenue by just 10xing it. So instead of $800 for renewal, make it $8,000 for a renewal, right? Then only the competent realtors can afford this, right? And we only have the best sticking around. And I got torn to shreds.
He did. It was
Steve,
epic.
Well, because it doesn't fit their agenda. I mean, Steve, again, bringing fire. That reminded me of the Chris Rock comparison of how you get rid of, gun issues. You charge $10,000 a bullet. That's very similar concept. Yeah. You have more people that are doing more of the deals. You basically have the 20% doing the most that are honestly are actually out there helping people versus just trying to do deals for themselves.
Yeah, and you look at the ones.
Case in point. How many times have we talked about on this forum where someone will present an offer and the agent won't even show it to the seller? I mean, we've talked about this several times.
I don't know that 8,000 in fees is the answer. I mean, everybody deserves an opportunity to start. So I think there's a different component to that. Because look,
you could, Chris, with apprenticeships, right? You could do working under somebody else. You could do that by joining someone's team, just like we talk about in wholesaling, right? First, work on someone else's team.
I just don't know that the world of being a realtor just is like being a tradesman where they need to go through apprenticeship. I think there's space for that. But I think ultimately what you're saying at $8,000, man, then you're gonna have every realtor running around like, you know what I hate? Why does every realtor have a headshot from when they first got their license?
Oh, I got mine. Let me show you.
RJ on his business card still
Dude, I feel seen.
He still got on his business card when he started titanium. I mean, we look, if you charge $8,000, that's what it's going to be. We can't have that.
But Chris, the cream rises to the top. To Steve's point, if they're charging $8,000 and you have someone that you're recruiting that is the cream of the crop, what are you going to do as a brokerage? You're going to offset that cost for that individual. So I'm not saying it's a complete answer, but there's opportunity there.
You're going to
continue to recruit talent.
What's going to happen is what happens now. You're going to go to your mortgage company, your mortgage partner. They're going to float the cost to sponsor some people coming in, and somebody's going to cover the cost to try to get your business. We know how this game works. Let's be frank, right? So I don't know that.
But they can't do that for 45,000 realtors in Arizona.
Fair.
Yeah. But dude, Arizona could lose honestly 90%, and we'd still be we would be okay.
Let's talk
about 5,000 houses for sale.
Question,
we have 45,000 realtors.
The other side of this question is our realtor licenses protecting homeowners, property owners? Ooh. And that's where I get really irked in this, because more often than not, I see poor advice given. I see especially nowadays where we've talked about this. I think last week we talked about realtors are hungry right now. It was in the direct to seller or agent outreach. You have realtors saying, I can sell your house for $400,000 when every comp in the neighborhood is $350, just so they can get the listing agreement and then say, hey, we got no offers. Now we need the price drop down. That is where I see a massive issue with what's happening with realtors nowadays.
Let's just be honest. RJ, I agree 100%. And I say this respectfully to all realtors viewing this on the panel. All right.
Bro, you better tread lightly.
Judging as well. All right, let's stop it, right? Like realtors care about one thing specifically, and that's called
Homeowners.
commissions. That's called commissions. All right, and that's why
I
we have a
disagree
lot
with
of
that.
no. That's why we have a lot of the issues that we have. Look, real estate agents will operate on a full commission structure. They're incentivized to work based on commission, and they make decisions based on financial situations they may have personally that impact homeowners. And those are
So
the bad apples in the real estate agent space.
I would disagree with, because you're going to paint a broad paint broadly with that. It's the same thing. You can make the same exact argument with wholesalers, right? They only care about the money. They don't care about serving the homeowner. So I would say
The
that
question was about agents. The question was about agents.
yeah, but I would say the top realtors don't operate with that. I think the top producing realtors actually operate with care, right? They're not out there trying to take advantage of people, but
But are the top
um,
producing agents even still going on homeowner appointments? No. They have people on their team that are buyer or listing agents that are going out and handling these things for them, running these types of
there
appointments.
are top producing realtors going on appointments. Yeah, Matthew goes on appointments.
Yeah, but Matthew's different. He's investor friendly.
Uh-oh.
He has an investor mindset. And
Respectfully.
respectfully,
No.
Matt has the perspective of the investment world as well. Most top producing agents do not. So Matt
Correct.
understands the benefit of going and sitting stomach to stomach and having a conversation at somebody's kitchen table, and that these situations that people are in when they're in a bad property, when they got code violations, when they're behind on taxes, that somebody needs to care about that individual to help them out. Look, I deal and talk with top real estate producing agents all the time, not in Arizona, but here. And they're not Matthew Potter. They don't care that much. They're not out at somebody's house. That's just how the systems of these brokerages really actually work.
I will say this. We ran a little long on that one, but this was a really, really, really great question, and I like this. I will say this. I understand exactly what CJ is saying and what Steve is saying, because there is like a 1% of agents that really do actually give a shit if you really want to get down to it. And it's not just a paycheck. Like, dude, I'll be honest, like, Steve, you know this. I've closed short sales where my paycheck was $50. I don't care. I help that person avoid foreclosure. And that's what it's supposed to be about. That's not what it's always about, though, which is really
and I get
unfortunate.
that, and I got that 50-50 referral check.
You did.
25
Hey,
on it.
that's right. It was Steve and I were hitting McDonald's afterwards for a happy meal.
Supersize this on me,
in
Matt.
Arizona,
Supersize this one on me.
We can get you one Jamba Juice. There you go, $25.
That's right. Yeah, maybe pre-COVID, dude. Post-COVID, I can't deal with that inflation. All right, that was a great round. I really enjoy that. I am gonna say Collective Genius clearly leveled Steve up. Like, Steve, you're gonna get the point. Yay! We're all.
You're welcome,
Steve's
Steve.
definitely
Thank
a little
you.
bit more
Thank you,
happy
Leon.
about the judging this week. There we go. All right, we're gonna get into the second one here. I'm stoked to get your guys' input on this one. Does it make sense to start using AI in your business? Start us off, Steve.
So if you asked me a week ago, I would have said it's really not that critical yet. You just got to wait until they figure out a few more things. We had Mr. Rob Swanson speak on stage and Glenn Shorn speak on stage, and they showed us what they're doing right now, and it's one of those things that you can't unsee. You know, the how much time it saves you, policies, procedures, finding properties. If you know exactly what you want to buy, having AI scrape every other wholesaler's list, right, to find the properties that match your buy box. The automation that you can do, it's just insane out there. So I think the amount of time savings you have, the amount of labor, you know, we're happy paying VAs $4 to $10 an hour to do certain jobs. We're getting to a point now where AI can do those jobs, and so instead of paying $4 to $10 an hour, you're paying $0.
Yeah. Apparently, I need to go to CG for a week. Jeez, that was another good one. All right, RJ, what about you?
I just want to take all of the credit for the Steve that we're getting today. I mean, last week when I really let him know that he let us all down, he's really bringing it this week. So you're welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think the facts are we're already using it, even if you're not meaning to. I mean, there's so many different things that it's being used in. We almost exclusively use it for all of our listing descriptions now. And I mean, it's kind of becoming one of those, just like Steve said, time save mechanisms that it's already become a part of the norm. So I think, yes, you have to use it on some degree. I think it's going to be really interesting to see where some of these systems that we are already all using, the majority of us use Investor Lift. I saw Robert talking about the fact that he's going to be implementing something later this year that he feels like will take a wholesaler. He said a wholesaler at some point in time will be able to make $100 million a year based off the technology that he's releasing with AI. So I think, yes, is going to become a massive part of our businesses moving forward.
Don't tell Brewer that, man. He'll get a little jealous of the wholesalers making $100 million a year. All right, CJ, what about you? What's your thoughts on AI?
If you are not using AI, if you have no intentions on using AI, the world will leave you behind in a few years. This is the equivalent of the creation of the internet, automobiles, electricity, robotics, steel, railroads, airplanes, gas-powered vehicles, electric-powered vehicles. If you wait to take advantage of this, to understand it, to comprehend this, to get this implemented, to start using your brain to think about the ways it could be implemented inside of your business, just going to shoot it straight. It's Webby Day, Potter. I got a webinar tonight. All right.
That's right. Promptly at 7 p.m.
Super prompt. Look, if you signed up, I got 1,000 seats. If you don't come on time, I don't know what to tell you. The world is going to leave you behind if you don't figure out and understand how to use AI, and it will be nobody's fault but yours, because we all had the exact same start. That's all I got.
I definitely like that. That's a damn good answer, CJ. It is. All right, Leon, what you got?
First off, I've been telling you guys for years, the collective genius is where you plug in if you want this type of knowledge. Look at what it's done for Steve this week. And to what CJ just said, he's absolutely correct. The amount of presentations. So for those that don't know, on day 2 at our mastermind, we do member presentations in addition to a few other things, but we had 40 presentations done by members of giving value. Okay. Of all of those winners, by the way, our very own Mr. Steve Trang won a belt. He had the best presentation in his room. But as we were going through those belt winners yesterday, of all of those presenters, I believe in every single room, one of the top 3 presenters presented on how they're utilizing AI right now. The reasons that you join communities like ours or any other community out there, guys, is to get a leg up on the competition. So to CJ's point, if you're not incorporating right now, you're going to get left behind. And I don't care what your discipline is within real estate, whether it's the education space, it's wholesaling, it's land. I don't care what it is. I saw a number of presentations that blew me away of what's coming down the pike and what is currently being used. And by the way, if you're not staying up on it, it's changing rapidly, like weekly. It just got plugged up to the internet. We learned recently, and it's almost scary, quite frankly. But if you're not utilizing it, they'll get left behind.
Yeah, I think a great line I heard from Devin Robinson at the select level was either you're not going to get replaced by AI. It's either you use AI or you're not being used, or something along those lines, right? Like you have to be using AI, or like CJ said, you are going to get left behind.
On that note, I'm glad that Leon brought up the fact that Steve won a belt this weekend, because we all know that I love collecting fake wrestling belts. However,
we did not, but now we do.
Unlike Steve, I actually win my belts for doing stuff. He just wins his belts for talking about doing stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing Steve actually win a belt for doing something.
So we got to talk to Elijah. Chris, you and I, we're judging finals day.
Yeah,
we're judging RJ. We're gonna have a conversation.
I
we're gonna
love
have an
it.
intervention with it.
Let's do it.
There you go.
Yeah, RJ wins 1 belt, and now he's like a big deal.
2.
Yeah, I think this one.
All right, so he's got 60 subscribers. Good job.
I think this is pretty easy. That AI is definitely necessary, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe everybody actually agrees. This is great. I was expecting some kind of banter, but I will say this. I think CJ definitely touched on something. This is one of those pivotal moments within business where you will get left behind if you don't jump on this. This isn't the metaverse or NFTs. Sorry, Steve. This is this is definitely something like I've already implemented it into my business. Our brokerage actually is coming out with an entire assistant that is all AI powered. Like literally it does almost all your tasks for you, which is super cool. And you don't realize how much time that saves until it starts saving you time. So that round, great discussion. CJ, we're going to give it to you. Good job. Way to be Nostradamus over there and just
After you crapped over
drop
all the
it on us.
realtors. Such a traitor, Matt. Such a traitor.
Look, we're past that. That's in the past. We're moving forward. All right. Next up, we have if for some reason you were unable to practice real estate, what's your next move? All right, start us off, CJ.
I mean, I guess I'm already moving. I mean, internet marketing. I started internet marketing 3 years ago with a coaching program, affiliate business, and some other things. It's been a phenomenal business. It's been a multi-7-figure business for me. And that's been pretty cool. So if I was to not do real estate, I used to be a real estate investor that was interested in internet marketing. I see myself more now as an internet marketer that invests in real estate. And that's what I'd be doing. And I would be working with other people and other brands and seeing how I could help elevate their brands for some equity and blow some other brands up. But that's for sure what I'd be doing.
Nice. I like that. That's a good plan right there. Leon, what are you going to be doing?
Well, first off, before I move on from real estate, we don't practice it; we perfect it, right? So let's put that down first and foremost. But for me, it's easy. I thought long and hard about if I weren't doing real estate, what would I be doing? And one of the biggest reasons I'm a part of the Collective Genius is because I love giving back and helping others achieve their goals. And that all comes from my background of being influenced by my high school and summer AAU basketball coaches. It would be a natural transition for me. I've coached basketball since I can't remember anymore. I call it my ministry. It allows me to impact the most lives of young people. And so if I couldn't do this tomorrow, I would go, money doesn't matter. I'd figure it out, and I'd either coach at the high school or the college level, and even in the summers. So high school basketball or just coaching basketball in general. Easy transition for me.
Very nice. Love the giving back part. That's where it's at. Steve, what about you? What are you doing after real estate?
Before we get into that, I just want to highlight real quick that, for Leon, that's going to be going into coaching basketball. He was sub 500 this week. I just want to point that out real quick. So for myself, it would be really
Washington Wizards, man. Washington Wizards.
Training sales. I really enjoy helping people take the challenges they have with clients, with prospects and this and moving it across the finish line. I don't know exactly when I started geeking out completely on behavioral psychology and understanding, the way the brain works and how to get a person from point A to point B. But I'm totally fascinated by it. I can do it all day. And I love learning about it. I love teaching it to others. It's been rewarding emotionally and rewarding financially. And I think that if real estate didn't work out for whatever reason, that's the direction I would go. It'd be coaching people in sales.
All right. I dig it. All right, RJ, what are you doing if real estate doesn't work out for you?
So getting super technical on this with a quick, ask of my AI over here on who practices real estate. That's a realtor, licensed real estate agent. And I'm not a licensed real estate agent. So apparently by practicing, I can still just invest in it and own it. So technically, I don't practice real estate, but if we just can't do real estate anymore, I really enjoy, the podcast, what we do here, being able to connect with people all across the world. Like Steve, I've been doing the podcast since 2017.
Really?
Going live on YouTube, building that, and it's a passion of mine. I enjoy that. That's where I can go and not feel stressed like I'm working anymore. So if I needed to do something outside real estate, I'd probably do something online, podcasts, that route where I could almost feel free of feel like I'm not working anymore.
I'm glad. I was really worried. I think Archie should probably get the point just because he didn't say judging, because I was really worried he was going to say judging.
Yeah, he's almost got I don't know how much money RJ made this week or today, but he's kind of got this very, positive, peppy energy today.
He's got a swagger.
Yeah, he's got that closing check energy, like don't be a lady, be a legend type energy.
He's got
like
that legendary swagger.
Yeah, I see it.
So, CJ, I feel the same way about Steve. So I got to make sure that I clap back on this basketball thing he just said. So I will say that I'm a much better coach today than I am a player. Just like he's a much better sales coach than he is an actual salesperson.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
He started
Leon Barnes is back. Man. Leon Barnes is back.
Don't forget the G.
Oh, geez, I can't even come. That's rough. I'm gonna take the rest of the day off.
That's like that's a kick in the knee. I like that one.
I'm gonna dare you for the day.
Steve started it. Don't play with fire, Scarecrow.
Yeah, man.
What I will say about the question is what I thought was interesting about it is we would all consider ourselves real estate investors, like CJ said, but we all have something else that's going on alongside real estate that we have found a new passion in. And maybe real estate helped us get there, like CJ, like me, like Leon, who knows about Steve. But, it is that having that freedom as an entrepreneur has allowed us to find other passions and other avenues that we could easily transition into.
I like what
I will say to put that on a nice bow there is I think what you see with this panel, whether it's this panel with Eric or even when Jimmy is with us, everyone here is all about helping others achieve goals in addition to our own. And I think that's what always comes out about this group and why we're all such good friends, even though we smack each other every once in a while.
We're not friends anymore.
It's allowed us that opportunity to help others beyond just ourselves.
Let me piggyback on that real fast, because I think it's important what Leon just said and RJ. I think people should understand, right? Because I think a lot of times people see people like us with brands, with programs and platforms, and think it's a money grab or just about because there's a lot of money that's made in it. And that's true, right? You do make a lot of money from it. But I think the reality of it is like when you have to create something by yourself, and you have no help at hand, you don't have a silver spoon, and you're just getting it out the mud, figuring it out, piecing things together, that eventually you get to this point where you start operating within your zone of genius and things start to develop and happen for you. And you truly can't help but give that to other people and share that and want to extend that out to others. Because I know when I reflect, when I, do this webinar tonight and have done them in the past or have conversations and speak on stage, it's this thought that's like tickling the back of my mind at all times about like, man, I sometimes I still can't believe that this is it. Like, this is where I'm at. And you can't help but want to share that with other people and let them have those same type of experiences if they want to go do that work.
CJ, talking about that, like I had a moment where I experienced some emotions when I got the belt yesterday morning. I looked out, right? Like we're sharing the stage. Right. We got Leon, Eric, and on stage, and looking around, I was like, man, the dues we've paid, the price we've paid to get here. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We've gone through a lot of adversity and hardship to get here, and we look back at times, and that's what we want to share. If we can help someone get the success and avoid the hardship we went through, like that's a huge win.
I couldn't agree anymore.
Mark this down. Steve said he had some emotion.
I know.
Just for a second. Like, there was a moment of weakness.
Look,
time.
I'm about to pull a PTD first and run in there and give him a big hug.
No.
Last thing I'll say about that is to Steve's point about the emotion. It's the same thing. I mean, right now we're day 32. So for 31 days, I've been live on YouTube for 8 hours minimal. There's days where I'm like, why am I doing this? I go into voicemail hell where it's 45 minutes and nothing but voicemails. And then someone pops in the chat out of nowhere and says, hey, RJ, you told me to go get leads here. I said your exact script. I closed just like you, and I made $25,000 in my first deal. And it's like, dude, that moment of like, that's the reason why I'm doing this right here. To CJ's point, yeah, we make good money, but it's all those moments mean a lot more than the $25,000 check that comes our way.
No doubt.
Damn it. Shouldn't have let RJ speak because he came with it and got us in the feels. Like I think I see a tear in Steve's eye right now from that. It's beautiful. All right. Look, I'm going to be real with you guys. Everybody absolutely crushed this question with your answers. It's great. As much as I would love to be like RJ and just start throwing out willy-nilly, minus 10, plus 30, shit like that. We're going to just give RJ the point for that round. That being said, we'll just get on to the next question. We'll see if we can do a little bit better there. All right, this next one, I'm excited about this one. So with Westfield giving up their San Francisco mall and many malls closing around metropolitan cities, is this the end of the American mall era? Go ahead and start us off, RJ.
I don't think it is. And here's the reason why. I think this is just like everything else in real estate and in business in general. There's cycles. And what happened is there was too much supply and not enough demand, right? So I think we're going to see it shrink down. And what we're going to see is those businesses that currently or most recently have been inside of malls are going to go away. And there has to be new businesses, new creative things that move into the malls that draw the attention, right? Because in the past, we didn't have Amazon. That's the reason why you went to the mall, is buy your Christmas presents and clothes and all of these things. You can easily do that online now. The desire to get out of the house as a family or as someone in your teens, the desire is still there. They still want places to go. I think that will never leave. And I think there'll just be less malls, more demand, and more creative ideas for those businesses that incorporate themselves with malls.
Solid. So a little bit of recreation within the mall. That's what your vote's for. All right. What about you, CJ? What you thinking?
I think RJ's right, and I agree with what he said, but I don't think that works at every mall. I think that thought and concept will work for sure at these suburban malls, right? When you have suburban expansion that occurred and the shopping started to take place in mass. When you have that type of land available, I think, yes, repurposing, using that for different things, different types of businesses is going to make a lot of sense. I think where it's going to start to prove difficult, like on the question, right, is asking about San Francisco specifically. And I know this is one of RJ's favorite cities when it comes to affordable housing. And so when you look at a city like San Francisco, right, and this mall is in a metro area, right, and it's downtown. I think repurposing it in the ways in which you could do that start to become very difficult. So I think these major metropolitan areas that are in like core urban environments, in these huge major cities, I think the difficulty is going to be had in trying to repurpose these. And I don't know how that's going to look. Ultimately, the way people shop, the way that we live has shifted and adjusted, and it's not going to go back. We're going to be going more towards having an AI robot in your house or on your computer that you can say exactly what outfit you're looking for from exactly what company, exactly what sizes, exactly when you need it. And your computer is going to be able to go take care of it for you.
Hey, bro, 45 seconds, okay? Not 45 minutes.
Hey, when you champ, you champ. Don't be a lady, be a legend. When you champ, you champ. You understand? All right. When you're the big dog, you're the big dog, RJ. All right. So at the end of the day, I think malls are going to go away in these core urban environments, and that's what it's going to be. That's what it is. That's the truth. What y'all going to do about that? Go ahead.
my man CJ just took the 2 minutes afterwards too.
Hey, listen. Hey, RJ's got a no, Potter. You can't go back and forth with me. You see the vibes, man. Come on, man. I'm too quick and I'm too good, RJ. Come on.
Oh man. All right, Leon, what are your thoughts?
The question is end, the end of, I don't think it's end. I do think it's shifting, it's different. It's also, I think this is something to what CJ was just saying, but I don't agree that it'll be the same. I think this is a regional play. I don't think that these changes that you see with American malls in regards to what's new and cyclical coming around, I do see in bigger cities, you see more destinations and outdoor malls, which is what the play was in the 1920s and 30s. I think you're seeing more of that going to destinations around arenas, around destination places, to RJ's point of people getting outside. So I don't think it's an end. I do think there's a transition, but I also say regionally, you think that the American mall, the Mall of America, if you will, in Minneapolis is going to change and be different? Of course, it'll change with the stores and those type of things. But who's going outside Minneapolis in February? That's a destination spot. So regionally, in places like that, I think they won't evolve as much as you see in larger cities.
Very valid point. Minneapolis, great place to visit in February. Great deals to be had if you can get in. All right, Steve, what about you?
I think it is the end of the American Mall, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's still around. People are still trying to move their stores into malls and so on. If you look at what created the malls in the 80s, it was because they had these tax reforms where you can write off more, right? You had accelerated depreciation schedules. That's when all these malls started getting built, and legislature saw that this was not a good idea, and they undid that accelerated depreciation. So cash flow for malls have been down or negative for decades. Don't really know why it's still in business. And then now you got between Amazon and all these other, really easy to shop and deliver where you don't have to leave the house anymore situations. People aren't going to the mall as much by a significant factor. So I don't see how much longer it's going to be sticking around. I think it's done. Scottsdale Community Bank, I got a chance to go and watch one of their presentations. People fly out to see the Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall because they're trying to figure out why that mall is profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a case study that the Scottsdale Mall is profitable because most malls are not. That should tell you what's wrong with the mall model.
I can solve it for you. Rich people.
Yeah, but to Leon's point, that's what I was saying. I think you're going to see now what we would consider a commercial development, like specifically here in North Texas. We're seeing a lot of this where now JCPenney's, instead of being inside of a mall, is now a standalone shop where it's an outdoor mall. Changing kind of the recreating what a mall is, where it's more of that destination. There's more than just shopping for clothes. It's also there's entertainment, which we've always had, like the movies, but more, I guess, more creative entertainment along with the shopping experience. I think that's where we're going to see that going. I think the large malls where it's just 50 stores of clothes and whatnot, I think that is dying for sure.
I will tell you that the thing that I find that is the most fascinating and exciting is to watch entrepreneurs like us repurpose those JCPenney's and repurpose those buildings, because obviously that's great commercial space, whether that's entertainment, jump castles, or amusement parks indoors. I mean, you're starting to see that transition. People are starting to monetize with great ideas. Now, obviously, not all of those ideas will work, but it's fascinating to see what people are turning those old relics into and bringing people back to those spots. And some of those American malls, half of the space is now being used for other things while still being a commercial mall. Again, going back to RJ's point, creating these destination points. So I do think, again, I don't think it's necessarily ending. I just think it's evolving.
All right. Good points by everybody on the panel. I do have to say, Leon usually is our El Capitan when it comes to this and talking about the redevelopment and malls changing and spaces like that. So, Leon, you are going to get the point that round. Thank you for.
I see,
like the nickname as well.
His answer wasn't
like
even informed.
Capitan.
I see we're
wasn't
back
informed on that
to Potter's socialist judging, where everyone gets a point.
Hey, Manny, can you go ahead and take away RJ's points? Thanks.
-5.
And in a stunning turn of events, RJ Bates scores the first -100 in PTD history. All right, next up we have, let's see what our next question is. We're halfway through the year. What has changed in your business in the last 6 months? Go ahead and start us off, Leon.
So the last 6 months, for most that have watched the show know that I have a personal real estate investing business, and I am day-to-day with the Collective Genius. And everything that we've looked at over the last 6 months is how can we be better and more efficient. For my own personal business, I had always said that once I got to 50 doors, that I would bring property management in-house because it no longer made sense. Although I am not a fan of that business model. It's not one that usually pencils to make money, but it does make sense from a savings perspective and taking care of our tenants. So we brought property management in-house. Has not been easy, but we have done that in the last 6 months, actually in the last 3 months. And then with Collective Genius, we're always looking, how can we help more real estate investors achieve their life goals? How do we help them scale their business? Investors don't come to us unless they want help with scaling. And what we've looked at is continuing looking at our community and saying, do we have the right level for the right person at the right time? And so we just launched our 3rd level within our community that specifically caters to that person that's doing 10 to 30 deals a year. And this is, for us, we've always been known as the elite mastermind. And so taking a chance of going and going a little bit lower with the person that needs community, but needs more coaching, weekly coaching, it's a risk, but we know it's something that makes sense for our business long term.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, Steve, what about you?
For us, it's been instilling more accountability. We've been talking about execution and discipline for a long, long time. I think we're finally doing it at a level that is what was needed for the longest time. We've had some people that maybe stuck around a little longer than maybe they should have. We held on to longer than we should have. And I think, being able to track the metrics, catch warning signs earlier, putting protocols in place to have more call reviews by leadership versus just, delegating it to a VA. I think just increasing the level of accountability, I think it's been the biggest game changer. And it's led to more difficult conversations, but it's actually a good thing because we need to all be on the same page, and we're not on the same page. We can't row the boat in the same direction. So I would say instilling even a higher level of accountability.
Solid. All right, RJ, what you got?
2023 has been a huge year for change so far for us. January was, I was going through some depression there. Mickey Mouse decided it wanted to call me a bad name, and it really messed up with my head there. We'll come out with more about that later. But the business was suffering a little bit from mine and Cassie's absence. And, 8 weeks ago, went back to my cleaner personality, just like I did in 2020, and said, hey, it's the 4th quarter. Give me the damn ball. And now we're seeing change, and it was necessary. I think the team, I literally have never loved a team more than the team I have right now here at Titanium, but we weren't getting the results that we wanted. And now we are, and I think they need to see us in the game instead of just sitting on the sidelines and trying to coach.
That's absolutely one of the greatest answers you've ever given on this show, RJ.
Strong, RJ. Strong.
I like that one a lot. All right, CJ, what you got, boss?
Yeah, 2023 has been amazing. 2022 ended with a lot of strong momentum business-wise. And then we started running into some hurdles, right? Like we started bumping into some speed bumps and trying to get some different things figured out. And what's been really cool And what I'm excited about for the second half of the year is similar to what like RJ said. You know, my energy is always when everything isn't going exactly how it should be going. I look at it as a leadership issue, and I got to get back into the mix, and I got to show and prove. And sometimes a general has to hit the field with soldiers, right? And you know, we got in, we redid all of our SOPs, we went through all of our process steps, and we were able to get the business to a point here recently where there's nothing left to like figure out. As an entrepreneur, you're constantly trying to figure things out. Hey, what's the additional piece? What am I missing? What should I be doing? We've dedicated the time to get those things figured out. And the second half of the year for us looks like I said earlier, operating in that zone of genius and really growing things and building on top of what's already there versus having to put things in that are new.
And, you know, one of the things I'll say about my answer is it's all perspective. I look back at when our first year in real estate, 2015, we did $750,000 in assignments that year. Now here we are, and we're looking at we can potentially do 450,000 in a month. But yet there was times where we felt like we were struggling, right? It's about the perspective of the expectations that we have here. And I've continued to say this to the team. Every single deal matters. Every single termination that we send out matters. The expectation here is to win. We're not giving attaboys for closing deals. We're giving attaboys when we exceed the goals overall. And I think that's really where the team needed to see a difference in mindset across the board.
I want to make sure that we point out the value that was given in these answers for the changes or the things that the adjustments that these leaders have made. I think you heard at least 3 different times people saying getting back in. I don't know anyone, not many people that made money in Q3 and Q4 that were real estate investors at almost any level. They made a ton for the last 4 or 5 years because of the run of the market. The market was the star. And so you don't necessarily have to take the ball at the end of the game because the market was the star. But if you notice, most of the answers here were I had to make adjustments. We weren't efficient enough. We had to make changes, and I got back in the business. There's a ton of value in those answers. Well done, fellas.
I guess we can be friends again.
It's a compliment sandwich there, Steve.
I'm just waiting for Leon to straight dunk on Steve. That's what I'm waiting for. That was a really, really great question with great answers from everybody, and I love everybody's perspective on it. I have to say, RJ, you definitely hit the nail on the head on that one. So even though you talked a little bit of shit to me about my judging, I'm going to give you the point on that. So now you're at negative 99. Great job. Appreciate you. Here, let's go into question 6, and it wouldn't be a PTD episode without the NBA. Let's go ahead and get into it. With the Denver Nuggets winning the NBA championship and getting minimal media spotlight throughout the whole NBA playoffs, how would you react if your team achieved something massive, but it was downplayed or not recognized by your peers? Start us off, RJ.
Well, my God, what a great question for me to answer. Bro, 2021, I won the Closers Olympics. It literally took me 6 months to get my post-win conference, and I was referred to as the most hated man in real estate. So, yeah, I know all about that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's fair for the Nuggets. I think that you know, for what they did, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, quite possibly what should have been the MVP during the season, and a multi-reigning MVP. He's been the most consistent player over the course of the past 3 years. I think they deserve to be praised for who they are as an organization. They built internally, which is not happening in the NBA right now. It's all so easy to go out and build your super team by just signing the top free agents. They've done it through the draft. They've done things the right way. They deserve all the recognition that they're not getting. You know, if it happens to you internally, use it as a chip on your shoulder. That's what I've done. And that's why I made sure that all of my best friends are judges in this year's Closers Olympics. So even if I bomb, I'm still going to win. Right, Steve and CJ?
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. I like that response.
Right, of course. Yeah.
I don't know. Steve's answer sounded a little unenthusiastic.
Yeah, no,
there.
I got you. Yeah.
All right, CJ. What about you? What's your thoughts on this one, man?
I mean, I don't know. I actually agree with RJ. Really, right? Like,
Whoa! Stop the press.
nah, I mean, I really do. Like, I agree with RJ. I'm gonna say that this time. I think RJ has had. I think he answered that very well, and I think he has some great answers today. And I agree with him 110%.
This is the most Jimmy Vreeland moment of all time. I'm not even going to answer. I'm just going to say I agree with RJ.
No, I'm saying I would literally say the exact same thing. Like I carry the same type of chip on my shoulder. I don't think that accolades matter peer to peer. I'm not playing a game for high fives and pats on the backs. Steve, we kind of talked about this on the phone the last week. I'm the chip on the shoulder guy. That's why me and RJ probably appreciate and respect each other and have our back and forth. Look, if you're playing for somebody to hand you a trophy or, whatever, I mean, that's just not my vibe, man. I don't care about stuff like that. We'd celebrate it internally. We'd take it as a chip on the shoulder. We'd be the team drawing it up on the whiteboard, posting the newspaper clippings or internet posts, getting fired up, hitting the tunnel, and busting people in the fucking mouth every time.
Absolutely crush the answer there. I love it. This is what happens when titanium was forged and you started JVing on deals over here.
Titanium U.
Like titanium U, baby. You know the vibes. All right. Leon, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm so blessed to have great mentors and great home training that allowed me to get to a point in my life where I don't do anything as a leader, as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a friend. There's nothing I do in my life that I feel like I need recognition for, ever. And I am blessed to have those that came before me get me to that point. I think as a kid, we want the recognition. We want to win the state championships. We want to be called the best baller on the court and the best student for some of us. We want that recognition as kids because we feel like that's how we make our way in the world. But what you find is that the impact that you have on others is more important than any trophy that you'll ever win. And I believe that the Denver Nuggets feel that way. Did you hear what the Joker talked about when they asked him about the parade? He goes, "What parade? When is that?" It doesn't matter to him. He's got horses that he's going to go race. He doesn't care about that. That's how you should live your life. If we all focused on less recognition and making more impact and leaving a great legacy, this world will be a better place. Unfortunately, it's not that way, but I think that's the best thing I've seen in sports in a very long time.
Solid response, Leon. I'm happy to see you take that one right there. All right, Steve, what do you got?
For me, I couldn't be happier or more grateful to be dismissed, right? Because when you're dismissed, that's what keeps the chip on the shoulder. It's this celebration. Oh, these guys are champs. These guys are the greatest, right? That's the stuff that doesn't allow you to want to sacrifice as much, right? You're going to maybe sleep in a little bit more. You might hit the snooze button, but the constant disrespect and dismissal, that's what keeps, I think, a lot of us here going, right? It's the rejections. It's the, you're not good enough. If you watch, I can't remember, it was like one of those old NFL shows, but there's a reason why on both sides of the football field, the captains are screaming, they don't respect us. They don't expect us to win. Both captains in every single game throughout NFL Sunday is screaming, they don't respect us. It's because that's what fires you up. That's what makes you want to go hit the gym a little bit harder and, sacrifice for your food, your diet, your sleep, whatever. You're going harder because you don't feel respected. And that's, again, if it was my team, I couldn't be more grateful, because I know that's going to keep us going harder.
I want to say a couple of things here. One, TNT is the best sports broadcasting channel out there. They broadcast the entire Stanley Cup Finals. Vegas wins the Stanley Cup the other night. I'm watching, them hand the captain Mark Stone the Stanley Cup, and they did one of the coolest things I've ever seen. They brought Wayne Gretzky on for this moment, and they asked him, what's going through your head when you're skating around with the Stanley Cup after 82 games and 20 plus more to win the Stanley Cup? And he said, at first, it's about looking at your teammates in the eye and seeing what you just did together. And then you transition your thoughts to all of your family members that helped you get to that level. And he goes, for me, it was thinking about my grandparents and all of the early morning skates they took me to. And I'm not going to lie, man, I had an emotional moment, because literally as I'm watching this, my son is in Seattle, Washington with his grandparents, because they're there for his tournament in Seattle this weekend, and watching that moment. And so to Leon's point, the Denver Nuggets, the Vegas Golden Knights, they really don't care about the media. That's not their thought. It's about their teammates and their family and the impact of them winning the championship. That's where the thoughts are, and just being grateful to have that opportunity.
Hey, RJ, I know, like, you really are proud of the belt that you won, with the Closest Olympics, but I think you're confusing most hated man with most, like, ignored man, right? But actually, if you go back to the reason we have the show, right, is CJ, RJ, myself, we're in Closest Olympics. Yep. And the reason why RJ is so hated is because in one of our pre-games, we're like, hey, you know what we'll do? What we'll do to get people excited? We're gonna start talking some trash. Yep. We're gonna start, talking some smack, get some controversy going, so we get some eyeballs on Closest Olympics. So what happens? RJ starts talking trash. I start talking trash. CJ talked a little bit of trash, right? He was still kind of in his high tower, right? High up in the tower. But there was a lot of trash talking. Respectfully. And what happened, though? What we found out was the other 9 were not up for trash talking. What we saw were people who got their feelings hurt. It was really an interesting social experiment. But that's the reason why CJ and RJ are here, because we know who can give it, we know who can take it. That's what makes it fun, and that's the reason why RJ's the most hated man.
Hey, that was Elijah Rubin's thing to me, not me.
If you're doing anything focused on the admiration of others as your motivational factor, it's going to be pretty tough sledding for you in entrepreneurship, because this business, being a business owner, it don't really go like that, man. You got to be your own biggest fan, your own biggest cheerleader, and be able to push yourself forward on a daily basis, for sure.
If I can add one last thing here, CJ, you're so right. I think that one of the things I've learned from some of my mentors in the Collective Genius, some of the best presentations I've ever seen, and saw one of those this week. I think if you're really truly looking for recognition at some point in your life, I think the best point to be recognized is at your funeral, when there's a line around the block for people to come and pay their respects to you as a human being. I think that if you truly want to look at any recognition, that's the best one. That's a legacy, right? That's impact that you make.
Jesus Christ, we'll end it on that one. Leon bringing us home. God. It is great to be back. I'm going to give this one to Leon. Leon wins today. It was definitely neck and neck with my clearly amazing judging skills. Two for Leon, one for CJ, one for Steve. And, well, RJ, you'll get on the plus side someday. I had to return the favor for you after last week. I had to.
I deserve
it. You certainly do, and I'm glad that you recognize that. All right.
You think about what you did.
I'm giving you a week to come back stronger, all right? It has been an absolutely great show today. We appreciate everybody tuning in to check us out. As always, we will be here every Thursday. Before we go ahead and sign off, we're going to give everybody a chance to go ahead and say bye. We'll go ahead and start off with our champion this week, Leon G. Barnes.
Guys, what a great show. I was coming off of 3 days of the Collective Genius. I was drained, but thanks to each of you for supplying some energy today. What a great show that we had. And I want to just give a quick shout out for all the dads out there that are putting in work, making an impact. Happy Father's Day. And let's not leave out the ones that the mothers that are playing both roles like my mom did for her kids. Happy Father's Day to both those fathers and those mothers playing both roles, to everyone.
Leon, by far the classiest panelist that we will ever have on PTD. All right, Steve, go ahead and say bye to the people.
I second that, because none of us are going to be as classy as that. I would say great show as always. Always enjoy, going back and forth with all these fine gentlemen. And Leon said VP of membership. That's how he introduced himself. He doesn't give himself enough credit. He ran a great event. I mean, I know it's a whole team operation, but Leon is the one that's spearheading it, and it was a wonderful event. So I got my belt. I got to be more informed for today's show, right? So I just want to give Leon his credit, his due.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you definitely need to be talking to Leon weekly so we can go ahead and elevate your answers like you started out the show with. All right, RJ, go ahead and say bye to the people.
Yeah, to Steve's point earlier about, why are me and CJ on here from the 2020 Closers Olympics. Man, it's an honor to be here. It's a ton of fun. It's one of the most fun things I do every single week. And it's also the impact that it makes for other people. I know we like to have fun on here, but there was someone at this past weekend's Crucible, and they didn't know who I was and pardon the disruption. And then they started watching my live videos and then said, hey, I want to be a virtual wholesaler. So they came to the Crucible. So thank you, Steve, for the opportunity to be able to do this show.
Very cool.
It's amazing, and it makes an impact on a ton of people. So thank you for that, and great show, fellas.
Awesome. Last but certainly not least, CJ, say bye to the people.
Great show. Great time, man. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. I thought all the answers today were great, even Steve's. I thought it was a lot of great conversation, for sure. Startflippingdeals.com. We got 3,938 people registered for tonight. The room only holds 1,000. So make sure you're on time. All right, Steve, let them know. Make sure you're on time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you there, man. You know the vibes.
7 p.m. CPT. I'm going to put CJ's cell phone number inside the show notes for all the realtors that didn't felt like they were being treated respectfully. You guys can have a one-on-one conversation with CJ.
Bro, Steve, realtors don't pick up the phone, okay? All they do is push paper, so that's not going to do any good.
Outstanding.
They pick up the phone to issue complaints. I know, because I was Matthew's broker, right? I would have these conversations on a regular basis. Matthew Potter did what? No, not the Matthew I know. No, he wouldn't say that.
Absolutely. And I would
just lodge a complaint, write it down. Matt, you got another complaint. So I answered. So they pick up the phone and complain.
I'm undefeated. What can I say? So happy for CJ having 1,000 people tonight. His internet will only be able to hold 200. So good luck to those 800 people that are left out in the rain. It has been a great show. Glad to be back. We will check you guys out next weekend. Have a great, happy Father's Day. Talk to you guys soon.